representatives from various stakeholders, senior officials from the university, participants, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning. Actually, I'm very happy to see very familiar faces today in very early morning, sitting here with scientists and experts, and who are working as our partners in developing water sector in the Maldives. Actually, I will not be talking about any scientific findings, and I will not be focusing about your scientific research. I believe you have enough doctors, PhD holders who are doing research here. But I will say a few words about the practicality of what we are talking about. Actually, water security issue is one of the highest priority in terms of development in the Maldives. We already have many partners with us working together. Here we have some of them: USAID, Adaptation Fund, UNDP, JEF, and many other partners as well. When you talk about water security, that is mainly, which is relevant to the people. But when you talk about climate change, people might not be feeling that very much because it's very much on the scientific side and research side and higher level. For people, what they need is clean water, accessible at an affordable price at home. I think it is the basic focus of our government should be. So when you talk about the water security, you can say climate is just only one aspect of it. All of you have experienced very recently a major issue here in Mali, which has nothing to do with climate. We were without clean water for almost a week. Mr. Rashid is here. We worked almost 24 hours, and he's one of the engineers who worked 24 hours just to bring back the system for over 100,000 people here in this city. And another area, when you talk about the water security, is planning issue here in the country, and resource allocation. When we start reading the newspaper at the beginning of the year, every year in the last few years, you can say, in January, February, the most frequent news that comes to the media would be about dry season, not having enough drinking water in few islands. Even in this year, there were more than 120 islands, maybe water supply to those islands. But the question is it just because of the climate change? We do not believe so. It is very much related to the planning, very much related to the resource allocation in the country. Fortunately, this government puts drinking safe water providing to the people among the top priorities of the agenda. And you can say until I think 2012, 2011, only 4 or 5 islands have got the network together with the meter connection to the households with clean water supply. Among 196 inhabited islands, of course. That means the water system here in Mali is just very much unique until very recently. And only 4 other islands have got similar systems. Others are still waiting and hoping to get a better water supply system in those islands. With the help of many development partners to the government, we will be completing additional 10 islands this year, inshallah. And we are working on another 30 islands, which means it's not only, we have been very much depending on grant financing to develop water sector in the country. But things have changed. The borrowing from the multinational banks we are putting aside to develop water sector in the country. And also the PSIP budget, what you recently hear, that is the taxpayers' money that we use. That also we are putting a large chunk. That is, if you look at the annual budget of the country, you will see that apart from the housing and some other infrastructure, water and sanitation would be among the largest investment area in the country within these years. So it's very hopeful that what we have been achieved until now, but there is a long way to go. And one area is, it's not just developing the infrastructure, it is educating people, the awareness. I believe our partners are already doing it. So much of this, what we call in our terminology, the soft component, but it's the educating people, bringing awareness, the optimum use of resources. Those are among the ongoing projects like USAID or JEF or Adaptation Fund. We have been supplying that, what you see that black tank to all the islands, but you will see tanks, in some of the islands lying without use just for years. People are waiting, some officials from the government to go to those islands to install and connect them and put water. I think it's not that it has to be. It's a common effort, it has to be. It's a partnership. People together with the government, together with the banks, together with NGOs, together with other institutions. So it's actually a job for everyone. It's not only for a job for a government. Government alone cannot do all those things. And another thing is that the usage of the resources. Every day, especially if it is rainy, you'll see on the road lots of resources wasted. It's actually free resource that we get, the Maldivians. We are lucky that we get lots of rain annually. The rainfall pattern must have been changed. But the quantity that we get is a free resource that we get. But unfortunately, we never reuse water. We never recycle water. We just throw it back to the sea, which should change. We should not just blame climate change for all the problems that we have. Of course, climate change might have some impact. It is, of course, Dr. Zahid, he is doing very interesting research, and also other scientists will say that rainfall pattern must have changed here. We will see every day in the morning, between 7 and 7:30, you'll see it starts raining. And also it's heavy rain, it floods the people. So, but it should be taken positively instead of taking from the negative aspect. Just let's have a system to collect that water and clean it. So that goes to the technology. We have students, promising students here, who will be just leading the country in a few years, inshallah. So you can do your research on that. How, because for example, you can take in Asia, Singapore, what they are doing and what they have been achieving. And Singapore is a neighboring country and very much related to all the development activities here in the country. And what we import and what we use here is very much from Singapore. And also the technology development in Israel, for example, is, when we look at the research on water and the development and as achievements, you can see Israel is also one of the countries that we can learn from them. And we are not trying to invent the wheel. We can just learn from others, see what they are doing, and see what is applicable to our condition, to our country. Because there are so many researchers, maybe thousands or millions, and papers. But what matters to us, for Maldivian people, ordinary people, it is which is specific to our people, to this country. What are the resources that we have? How can we use the resources that we have in this country? If, for example, we have very recently tried to do something new here in developing water supply systems in the Maldives. If you look at Malay, they're just putting some RO plants. using electricity and trying to bring fresh water to your home, which is very costly, because electricity, in generating electricity, we are using diesel. And diesel, again, we are importing 100%. And again, it's foreign currency, and plus we are burning it. And again, we are talking about the gases. So we sat down together, and of course, with the help of some development partners, we have developed a new system called integrated water resource system, where we are trying to use rainwater in the entire system. So what matters to the people is the clean water what they get. But how it is done should be decided by the engineers, by the designers, by the research scientists. So we are trying to harvest rainwater in those islands. We have already successfully implemented. MWC has already successfully doing it in one of the islands, and we are replicating it in some other islands. And also we are integrating renewable energy, because to get fresh water, we have the desalination. For desalination, we need lots of electricity. The main operational cost for desalination is electricity. So how can we reduce electricity? We have, this is a sunny country. So the resources, when people say, well, Maldives is a country without natural resources, I don't believe it. We have lots of natural resources. The sun we get 8 hours every day, one of the best in the world. The rainwater that we get around the year is free resources, natural resources. Why don't we use it? So, from that aspect, we tried to integrate that rainwater component, and plus the solar PV, because solar PV is a proven renewable energy resource in the Maldives. That brought the cost of the water production between 35 to 40%. Can you imagine? It's some simple thing we did, integrating the rainwater harvesting and the renewable energy resources. And you are the students. You are going to be the leaders in the country, in this sector, various sectors. So lots more can be done. Let's learn from others. Let's see what Singapore is doing. Let's see what Israel is doing in terms of water recycling, water reusing. Why can't we use recycled water in our flush tank? I believe thousands of households here in Mali, nobody is doing that. Very recently, I contributed to one of the students' research project. They did some survey. They believe that the water that we waste at a household, up to 70% can be recycled. How much money we are saving? How much resources we are optimizing. So, it's not only climate change. I believe about the scientists will be talking about the climate change, but from a Maldivian context, but from a practical point of view. But I believe there's more to say than climate change if you talk about the water security. And I wish you good luck, and thank you very much, and good morning again.